Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me for the next hour to break down this 6-game slate that was a 10-game slate, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing this morning, buddy?
We're awake. No. I'm here. The slate is kind of weird now. Down, 40%. A couple other COVID issues. Yay, COVID. It's super annoying. We have to talk about it because it's prevalent right now, but there is nothing I would rather do than not talk about it. But just the way of the land right now.
Yeah, that's just kind of the way things are going. It was a 10-game slate. We had 4 games postponed down to 6 games. I will say there is at least one more game tonight that's in doubt. That's Toronto, Vancouver. Toronto had Tavares and Kerfoot pop positive. It was either early yesterday afternoon or Thursday night. And then late last night, both Wayne Simmons and Jason Spezza pop positive as well. Funny thing about Spezza, he had a 6-game suspension reduced down to 4 games, which I'd have to go back and look at how many suspensions Gary Bettman has reduced in his tenure as commissioner. It cannot be very many. So it struck me as very coincidental that Jason Spezza would have his suspension reduced in time to be able to play tonight. But he's not playing. He's in COVID protocols now. So that's 4 players from the Leafs at least. There's a couple on the Vancouver side. So that's definitely one game that we have to watch. It's just a fact of life. We're going to have to deal with this. Just please pay attention to the news. If you're a subscriber, pay attention to our Discord. We're definitely going to be updating lineups all through the day. If you're not an Awesemo subscriber, you can find me on Twitter at Slim Cliffy, and my NHL Twitter list has like 140 beat writers or something like that. You can follow that to try and keep up on the news because there is sure to be a lot during the day. Let's talk about last night real quick. I did not do well last night. I saw one of our watchers actually did very well last night. He Orzova 64 took down the Daily Dollar, stacked Arizona 1. Jake was higher on Arizona than we were yesterday, but stacked Arizona 1 and had Winnipeg 1 with their on there with them, and also had Washington and some good stuff like that. So very good night, Orzova. Congrats on your first place. That's a job very well done on a slate short like this. How did you do last night, Josh?
One off. All right, I didn't one off. I had Hampus Lindholm in my lineup. So yeah, he had 39.8 DK points last night at under 2%. So despite Gibson giving up 144 goals last night, I did well because I also had Pitt 1, Ducks 2, Hampus Lindholm. Move on, if I didn't have Hampus Lindholm, I would have been out of the cash, but he ended up moving to power play 1 because I don't know, Drysdale wasn't having a great game or whatever. He had a shot at the hat trick in overtime, but that would have been quite the scene. But Gibson couldn't stop a nosebleed last night.
I'm trying to think of the last defenseman hat trick. I know Mike Green had one.
It was that guy in Florida. He was like Min Price.
Oh yeah, it was the Mark Pysyk hat trick night, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what it was. Oh my God. Yeah, Mark Pysyk and Mike Green, the last 2 defensemen with hat tricks. How about that? Yeah, so I didn't do well. Good job for you, Josh. Good job, Orzova. Hopefully we can get some more winners. Oh, I should mention Henry 296, one of our Awesemo subscribers, crushed it in tiers last night. He plays a lot of tiers. I've never really got into those. I used to play them for NFL sometimes when I was just jumping in NFL and I didn't really know anything. This was a few years ago. I don't play tiers that much anymore. Do you jump into them at all, Josh?
I always forget that they're a thing. So, like, my brother plays tiers all the time, and he has success. And I always say like, oh, I'm going to get into it. And then I always forget.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like I'm the same way when I want to jump to a different DFS site or something like that. I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to go play. And then I always forget about it. But anyways, we do have to move on. We still have 6 games we have to talk about here tonight. This is a 6-game slate. There are a lot of, I don't want to say big favorites, but there are a lot of high totals. 1, 2, 3 of the 6 games opened at a 6.5 total. Edmonton, Seattle opened 6.5. Ottawa, Philly opened 6.5. Toronto, Vancouver also opened 6.5, but that's come down with the COVID news, obviously. So they're expecting a lot of goals here tonight. Do you look for goal totals? Like, will you obviously follow the 6.5 totals as opposed to the 5.5 when you're building your single lineup? If there's a line in a 5.5, game or 2.8, 2.5 implied goal total, like, will you play them, or are you somebody that really tries to adhere to just sticking with the high implied goal totals?
Before I answer that, we need to wake up a little bit. We got our bang Saturday morning. Non-fantasy sponsor, non-officially, Bang Energy.
Listen to that sound.
Nothing like, how does that taste so good? There's no sugar. Anyway, so when I go through my initial run, I will look at the higher totals first, obviously. And then I work through the lower totals, but you have to think, like, if there's a small total on the road, not like Arizona Coyotes low, like 2.5, 2.6, and the team is pretty heavy top loaded, and I like that top line, then yeah, I'll definitely consider them. But for the most part, my first priority is going to these really high total games and seeing what I like out of them first. Obviously, if you watch the show, I'm always interested in some 5.5s. It just happens. Yeah. It is what it is. Like, I'll disagree with Vegas. Vegas isn't, I mean, they're usually more right than they are wrong, but there are times where I really like both sides of a 5.5 game and it works out. But generally on these, medium-sized slates, I'll gravitate towards these high totals.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I won't just exclude a line because it's in a 2.5 total game or something like that, right? But I'll definitely, on tonight's slate, Edmonton and Philadelphia, Toronto, those are the teams that are obviously going to draw some attention. So I agree with you. And also, one thing I want to mention is one of our subscribers asked yesterday in our Discord about following line movement and stuff like that during the day. And what I'll say is, I think I mentioned this on a show earlier in the season, but I'll mention it again here today. I do like to follow line movement because I think it's a good barometer of looking for higher and lower ownership. So, like, let's say we have the Carolina top line coming in tonight at 15%. And I look at the Vegas line movement, and I see people are just steaming Carolina, like the line is getting really long on them. Then maybe Carolina 1 isn't 15%. Maybe it's 20% or 23% or something like that. And then on the other side, like Los Angeles 1, if it was a 10% line, maybe that's coming in at 7% or 6% or something like that. So I look for line movement in the Vegas totals to tell me where ownership might be higher or lower than where we have them projected. I think that's one good way to use some of the Vegas totals. But as you said, I think it's only natural to gravitate towards the higher implied goal totals on each slate. But we do have 6 games to talk about before we get too much further. People are starting to pile into the chat. If you could throw us a thumbs up, really makes us look good for our bosses. Click the subscribe button. We are almost at 69,000 subscribers, that vaunted goal of ours. Click the bell if you want to get alerts whenever we do go on the air. We have shows going on basically all day long for a variety of sports. So be sure to click that bell. And thank you again to Yahoo Fantasy. They are our sponsor. They have been all season long, and they've been very good to us. So thank you again to Yahoo Fantasy. Check out what we have up on the site for free today. Almost every day we have free premium tools and data up on the site. Today is no exception. We have week 15 NFL top stacks, We also have our NHL top stacks up on the site. We have NBA ownership rankings, and we have UFC pro plays. So whether you're playing NFL, NBA, NHL, or UFC, we have you covered today. And we have our NHL top stacks free up on the site. So if you want to check out the top stacks when we talk about them, just head on over to Awesemo.com and see what our top stacks are all about. All right, let's get to this first game, Josh. We have Ottawa with a 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Philadelphia. The Flyers have a 3.8 implied goal total. That is an exceptionally high goal total on the Philadelphia Flyers. I will say one thing. I've been looking through some of their numbers, and like, it seems like they've been getting better since Alain Vigneault got fired. Now, I wanted to set you up because I knew that was exactly what you were going to say, or something similar to it. But they have had an easy schedule over those games. That's one thing I want to mention. Like, I think Montreal was in there. I think a trip to Arizona was in there, if I'm not mistaken, or something. But it's the Ottawa Senators in town tonight. It's another, fairly soft defensive matchup. So they have been playing well against soft competition, but it's soft competition again here tonight. But that being said, seeing what Ottawa did just the other night, putting up 8 goals on Florida, I think there are definitely things to like on both sides here. So what do you like, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, 3.8 total is the highest total on the slate. Like, I think. Yeah. It's the highest total on the slate. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know if I want to full stack anything, you know what I mean? Like, do I really want to play Scott Lawton? Not really. I would use that full second line, but the power play correlation isn't great. Like, I think I just want to stick to like Couturier, Konechny, and maybe add in like a James Van Riemsdyk, something like that. I wish they had a better power play quarterback than Keith Yandel right now. Like honestly, like, what do you do there? It's kind of like the Tyson Barrie situation in Edmonton. You just don't want to play the guy. 3,500 is reasonable, I guess, but like, he's super dependent on the power play. He's not really going to do anything else. He just kind of hangs out on the power play and maybe gets an assist. So, like, for me, Couturier, Konechny is probably my favorite 2-man. If you want to full stack that second line, I think that's fine. Lindblom, Atkinson on the second power play. You could put in, Rasmus Ristolainen with them, or Ivan Provorov, get a little bit more. Like, the Flyers kind of split up their power plays time. The top unit gets a little bit more, but it's not like, Colorado or Boston. So, for it being a 3.8 total, I'm not super excited about much, like, oh yeah, like, I got to jam in the Flyers tonight. Like, I'm not getting that feeling. Like, I kind of like the Ottawa side more, like, Ottawa, terrible defensively, but we don't play players for their defensive prowess. Like, that top line for Ottawa has been, absolutely crazy lately, fully correlated. They are going to get that Couturier matchup, which does worry me a little bit. But it's a 6-game slate, so you definitely got to consider it. I do also like that second line. Like, I'm probably the biggest Alex Formenton fan on the planet besides his parents. So, that line is super cheap. It's a decent filler. I've talked about it. Like, I want to take advantage of Giroux at center. Like, he's not an NHL caliber center at this point in his career. Like, he was early in his career. Obviously, he was a great player, but he's definitely better suited for the wing right now. So I do like Ottawa 2 as a filler. Ottawa 1 for sure, and the top 6 of the Flyers. And James Van Riemsdyk is a good one-off.
Yeah, it's the Ottawa side I want to talk about first, and it's that second line with Alex Formenton on it. And Alex Formenton he's one of their prospects that they were high on. I think they were higher on him than most people were, but the consensus on him as a prospect was, if he makes it to the NHL, he's probably going to be pretty good. Like, it was one of those things, like, either he's going to be good or he's just going to be a complete bust. Like, he's not going to hang around for a few seasons or something like that. So that he got to the NHL fairly quick time and is up on the second line is a good sign. Now, it's the Ottawa Senators, they're a bottom team, so maybe he'd be up there anyway. But that second line, since the return from their COVID pause on November 22nd, 57 shot attempts per 60 minutes, 56% of the shot share, 29 scoring chances per 60 minutes, 59% of the shot share. That Ottawa second line has been very, very good since they returned from their COVID pause. So I think that second line is just fine as a filler stack here tonight for Ottawa. I'm not on the top line. And the reason I'm not on the top line is that it's a complete shooting binge for them. They're not really playing well. Since that return on November 22nd, 44% of the shots, 43% of the scoring chances, they're shooting 18%. That's kind of the whole gambit here, is that they're shooting probably twice the rate that they should be. So I don't want to keep relying on a line that isn't really generating offense to keep shooting 15 to 20%, which is completely and wholly unsustainable. So I like Ottawa 2 a lot better here in this game. Philly won in their last 50 minutes, 71 shot attempts and 34 scoring chances per 60 minutes. They've really started to turn the corner offensively. So I like the Couturier-Konechny line here on the Philly side quite a bit. Still have that duo together on the power play. They're still very reasonably priced because Travis Konechny's still under $5K. If you want a 3-man with Scott Laughton, I think that's just fine because Scott Laughton's fit in well. I don't think he brings a lot to that line, but he's not taking anything away from them. You know what I mean? So for 3K, yeah, he's the Dryden Hunt over there. For 3K, it's perfectly fine to throw him in. If you don't want to put him in, then take him out. Either is fine. So Philly 1, Ottawa 2 for me in this game. I think Philly 2 is also in play for me, but as a filler stack, I would rather just take the lower owned Ottawa side. I think Ottawa 3 might be in play here. On a couple nights ago, we were on Montreal 3 because they were up against that Philly third line. That Philly third line sucks. I'm sorry. There's just no other way to frame it. They suck. I think that Ottawa third line can do some damage. They're just not super good. So I'd say maybe a one-off Tyler Ennis or something like that, or a one-off Zach Sanford. They're all correlated on the power play together. That's all I'm going to say. That Philly third line, I'm sick of them. They're just awful. So Philly 1, Ottawa 2 for me. On the blue line, Nikita Zaitsev was injured in Ottawa's last game. So we'll see what the lineup looks like at morning skate today. I'm assuming your boy, the Zoob, heads back to the top pair, and I will absolutely be playing the Zoob if he's on the top pair for 2,600. What do you think, Josh?
Oh, yeah. If he's up there with Chabot, not even thinking about it. First person I'm putting in is the Zoob.
First person.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just boom. Artem Zoob. And then on the Flyer side, you can correlate with the power play. Yandel is whatever he is at this point, but 3,500 for power play correlation, I guess, is fine. Rasmus Ristolainen in secondary power play time at 3K, Justin Braun 2.9, Travis Sanheim 3.1. You have a preference for a punt there, play them. They're all fine.
Yeah, I think my preference might be Braun on the Philly side, but I do think Zub just is the better, just is the best, probably might be the best punt defenseman on the slate.
So, yeah. I mean, we haven't even looked at the other 5 games, and I will confirm that.
That's how confident we are in our boy, the Zoo. All right, let's get to this next game. Los Angeles Kings, 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into Carolina. The Carolina Hurricanes have a 3.0 implied goal total. We don't really have a beat on the Carolina lines right now because obviously they're missing a lot of guys due to COVID, and they were on the road from their last game, so they didn't practice yesterday. So as we sit here, 9:20 Eastern in the morning, we just don't have Carolina lines, assuming that they just run back the 3 lines that they had the last game. Their ice time split was basically 23 minutes for the top line, 20 minutes for the second line, and 16 minutes for the third line. So I know we say don't play third lines here, but they're going to get 16 or 17 minutes here tonight, assuming they go with 9 or 10 forwards again. So I think that's a third line that would absolutely be in play. I think there might be something to play on both sides here. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how they're going to match up at home with all this madness going on. Like, I initially was like, you know what, LA2 probably going to be a pretty good play, but like if they end up into like Teuvo Teravainen, Jesper Fast, I know Kotkaniemi is what he is at this point, like not super great defensively, but like Jesper Fast is good defensive forward. Teuvo Teravainen is a great player, so I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with the Kings here. Like, I think I need more information on the Hurricanes to see maybe if they're actually going to be able to, call up some people and have a full roster or what's going on there. But like, as it stands, like Kings 2 is cheap enough where, despite any tough matchup, I think I still want to play them. They're a very good line. They generate a ton of chances. So they got, I followed now on the top power play. Carolina takes a bunch of penalties. They're going to be, they're missing a bunch of players. So they're, chances are they're still going to take a lot of penalties. So, I do like that Kings second line more than the top line. Unless, we get, morning news that it's Kempe, Kopitar, Kaliev, and then,
then we'd be excited.
Yeah, then it's like, you know what? We're just gonna Josh stack the Kings on the road in the 2.7. We're just gonna put in the Zoob. Well,
no, we're not gonna do that.
That's a joke. I think. I think. No, but like assuming the lines are what they were before, LA2, and then listen, if Carolina's gonna be shorthanded, at least from a number standpoint, like that top line is going to play over 25 minutes again. Or 23, 25, whatever they played last time. They're still cheap. If they get Kopitar matchup, that's another reason to play him. So yeah, like Nino, Trocheck, Netchus, you want to play that second line, that's perfectly fine as well. Like they're a good filler. Teravainen 5,800. Jesperi, Kotkaniemi, he's only 2,700, so that's fine. Jesper Fast min price, like Jesper Fast isn't gonna hurt you up there. Like he's not some like epic goal scorer, but he can hold his own in the top 6. So if you need a filler, I don't mind that second line. You want to even move down the lineup and pick some players out from there as one-offs, I think that's fine. But honestly, here we are in a 5.5, and I like both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the state of the NHL right now where I'm thinking, should I get Derek Stepan in my lineup tonight? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's a legitimate question to ask whether that Carolina 3 line playing 16, 17 minutes going into that, somewhat bad Los Angeles 3 line is a good matchup for them. So like, I agree with you. I think there is stuff to like on both sides here. I will say, I might go back to the Kings too, because I'm not as big on Kotkaniemi as a defensive center as some other people. I still think I think he's going to be a good defensive center. I just think there's still work to be done. And in fact, if you look at his defensive impacts by expected goals against, they're above average, but it's not even a standard deviation above. So it's not like he's, top line or second line impact status. He's fine. So like, I think that Kings second line, we talked about them in our last show, generating, I think it was about 80 shot attempts per 60 minutes, like a low grade penalty kill. That Kings second line is, of course, perfectly fine in this game. The Kings top line has, like we've talked about it of late, has been looking better in recent games. Their last 3 weeks, 57% of the shot attempts, 53% of the scoring chances. They've been pretty good. So I think it's a tough matchup for both top lines here. I do like the Kings second line. I like the Carolina top line because let's face it, man, if it's a tight game and they're going with 9 or 10 forwards, they're probably going to play 23 to 25 minutes here. So it feels real dumb to not strongly consider a top line that is going to play 20 24, 25 minutes here tonight. So strongly consider the top line for Carolina. Also like the Kings second line. I think the Carolina third line is also in play if you really want to get funky with your lineups. I don't think I'm going to be going that far down though. Brett Pesce on the blue line, definitely in play for me. Sean Durzi got some PP1 minutes without Drew Doughty for Los Angeles. So I think Durzi definitely in play for the Kings. Durzi and Pesce for me. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, the most expensive D-man on the Kings is Matt Roy right now at 3,600. So like any of them are in play. I think I go like Durzi, then Roy, then Mata. I think would be the three that I would focus on if you're looking to put Kings in your lineup. I think Tony D is an interesting play. Like the last time, he's still overpriced. So, getting him in, he's probably going to be pretty low. And Jacob Slavin, fine. Brett Pesce for sure. Brady Shea under 3K, depending on what you need, So a lot of D-men cheap.
Yeah. What do you think about Tony D as a one-off here? Because I know we say we don't really like to one-off power play one defenseman unless they're peripheral guys like a Yossi or something like that. Now, Tony DeAngelo, not really a peripheral guy, but I mean, let's face it, he's by far the best puck mover they have on the blue line. And if they only have 9 or 10 forwards, there are only so many players he can actually pass the puck to. So it seems like if they have a big offensive night, he's going to be involved in a lot of the goals, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, like, Tony D moves around the NHL a lot, and it's not because of his hockey skills. He tried fighting Alexander Georgiev last year or whatever it was. So, like, listen, he shoots the puck. He doesn't block many shots. He's a little baby girl. Doesn't want to get in front of the rubber. But he does shoot. He'll be involved. So I actually, I like sometimes putting in overpriced defensemen in my lineup because they sometimes go overlooked, and he's going to get a ton of minutes tonight.
That's one thing I'm glad you brought up because it's something I do as well. And it's something I think Seth Jones for me really fits that bill. It's like when I play Seth Jones, I'm not necessarily looking for 30 DK points from him. It's just that I know I'm probably going to get like 15 to 18 for sure from him. You know what I mean? So I'm glad you brought that up because that's a pretty good point. In net, I don't know what you think about the goalies here. I think Jonathan Quick, if he plays, makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
Yeah, Quick is like, kicking it back to 2014 here, man. He's been out of his mind this season. So, yeah, 7,200 Johnny Quick, definitely in play for me. Freddie at 82 is probably going to be a pass. It's just, with this team with so many things going on and the amount of penalties Carolina takes, like, I don't know, seems a bit steep.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you on Jonathan Quick. I like him here tonight. Bowl season is here. I actually do like watching the college bowls. That's something that I always have on in the background. Not a big college football fan personally, but I do really enjoy bowl season. Bowl season is here, and you can use promo code bowl season. That's all caps, all one word, bowl season, to get full access to our college football DFS projections for 50% off every bowl game. That's $25 with the promo code bowl season, all caps, all one word. Click the link below to activate this promo. This offer is valid only through Wednesday, December 22nd. So that's this coming Wednesday. Get 50% off every bowl game. That's bowl season, all caps, all one word. Click the link in the description below. All right, let's get to this next game. This is the one, at least as we sit here at 9:30 Eastern in the morning, this is the one that I think has the most concerns about being postponed, and is Toronto with a 3.6 implied goal total going into Vancouver. The Canucks have a 3.1 total. Alex Kerfoot and John Tavares hit the protocol list a couple days ago for Toronto. And then late last night, like I'm talking around midnight Eastern, Jason Spezza and Wayne Simmons both hit the COVID protocol list for Toronto. So that's 4 guys in the last 48 hours for the team. I suspect there are going to be more positives throughout the day today. So it's just one spot we have to really keep a close eye on for news. I don't know what the lines are going to look like. Like they still have their top line of Bunting, Matthews, Kasha. intact, assuming none of those guys pop positive here today. It's the entire second line that's missing, and except for William Nylander, and I don't know how that's going to line up. I have it as Richie, David Kampf, and William Nylander on the second line right now. That strikes me as a very bad line. Maybe if they put like Kampf, Engvall, Nylander, or something like that, that's a line that could do well together, I think.
Superman move up.
Yeah. Mikheyev, Engvall, Nylander line could do well, I think. I'm just scared they move up, especially Nick Ritchie, and then that just drags that whole line down to hell with it. So as we sit here on Saturday morning, what do you think of this game, Josh?
Matthews is going to play like 38 minutes tonight, I think, if assuming this game plays. I wouldn't be shocked to see them move Willie Nylander up with Matthews and just be like, you know what, F it.
Stack the line and just handle it if you can.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like, I want to see lines here, but like, obviously, if this game does play, very interested in Matthews. It's going to get a lot of Bo Horvat, Niels Hoglander, and that line actually has been pretty good since Brucey Baby took over. But
I just want to mention one thing. Jason Dickinson was moved back to that line in their last game, and the numbers with Dickinson are a fair bit worse.
Every time I hear the last name Dickinson, I think of that Saturday Night Live skit with the cowbell skit.
Oh, yeah. With the music producer. Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. When they're on, I make gold records. Anyway, Jake, I know you don't get that reference. It's okay. Matthews for me is definitely in play. If they move Nylander up, I'm definitely interested in Matthews Nylander. As it stands, I'm probably going to figure out a way to get Matthews in my lineup tonight. If it's with Kasha, it's with Kasha. If it's with Nylander, it's with Nylander. If the game plays. That does put me onto some of the Vancouver side, depending on the lines here. Like if Nick Ritchie's in the top 6, probably interested in JT Miller, Brock Besser. Also interested in, Pettersson, Garland. I like it really just depends on lines here. But, it's going to be that second and third lines for Vancouver I'm going to have some interest in. It just depends what they do on the line, because if there's there could be a good defensive line down there for the Leafs, depending on how they put it together. And I just want to see that first. But whatever line Nick Ritchie's on is probably the one I want to attack. So we just got to see lines here. And, if you're in our Discord, ask me later on Twitter, shoot me a message. It's gonna be Miller, Besser, or Pettersson, Garland. I'm hoping it's Pettersson, Garland, because Garland has been shooting a lot. I know Brock Besser has been scoring a lot lately, so I am a bit concerned. Maybe he's, that line is a bit over leveraged just because they fully correlate on the power play. So, it's going to be Vancouver 2 or 3, and then definitely Matthews. We got to see how the lines line up.
Yeah. Flat out, I love the Matthews line here tonight. He's the guy he's the first guy I put in the Power Plays article. I'm going to be writing that a little bit later. It'll be free up on Awesemo.com. He was the first guy I put in my Power Plays article. He's going to get a ton of minutes tonight without John Tavares. Like like Trocheck, I think Matthews is a threat to play upwards of 25 minutes here tonight. So, and as I mentioned, with Jason Dickinson playing with Bo Horvat, they only control 45% of the shots, 42% of the scoring chances. I think Bruce Boudreau can make them better, but that would be an absolute miracle to make them good enough to contain Austin Matthews.
Darn.
But I agree with you that I would want to play the JT Miller, Brock Besser, Tanner Pearson line. That's my favorite line in this game here tonight. Because they're probably going to go up against whatever that second line is for Toronto. And if it like you said, if Kampf and Ritchie are up there, it's not going to be very good. So And all three of them are correlated on the Quinn Hughes power play as well, right? Not like Toronto has a bad penalty kill. It's actually been good, but we'll see what penalty killers they actually have in the lineup here tonight. So I do like the Toronto top line a lot. Austin Matthews one-off, I think, is perfectly fine. My favorite line in this game is the Miller, Besser, Pearson line. For now, at least, we'll see what the lineups look like. But I'm assuming they're going to get fairly soft second and third line matchups from Toronto here tonight. So it's the JT Miller line for me. On the blue line, Quinn Hughes really sticks out for me. I think he's fine as a one-off here tonight. Like, that guy has been playing 26, 27 minutes of late. Like, any defenseman playing that many minutes is a one-off for me. I know we say don't normally one-off Quinn Hughes, but that's when he's playing 19 or 20, not 27 minutes a night.
Quinn Hughes for sure if you're using JT Miller, Besser, Tyler Myers if you're using Pettersson, Garland. I don't even know who that third pair. Like, I know who Noah Uselin is. I don't know who Guillermo Brissolani is. So, yeah, stick to Hughes and Myers and OEL if you like. On the Toronto side, honestly, Morgan Riley.
Yeah, Mo Rye. I think that's about it from them.
Like, what has happened to me? Like, I love Pitt 1 and I like Morgan Riley now. Like,
yeah, you're turning into Jake is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't love Morgan Riley.
His face is not turning into Jake, though.
Well, hey, none of our faces
are
turning into the Jake Harry face. I mean, let's get that out right away. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Just click the link below to redeem it. If you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com will get you set up right away. You can also receive up to $100 first match deposit bonus with Yahoo as part of their 12 days of winning when you use the promo code XMAS100. That's XMAS100, all caps, all one word, XMAS and the number 100 for up to a $100 first match deposit bonus. Yahoo will be featuring daily contests with guaranteed payouts for everyone, including tonight's 2K Awesemo free roll, which you can enter below. Free money down below. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. That's promo code XMAS100, all caps, all one word, XMAS, and the number 100 for up to a $100 first match deposit bonus. All right, let's get to this next game. New Jersey Devils, 2.8 implied goal total. They're going into Detroit. The Detroit Red Wings have a 3.4 implied goal total. And I'll tell you, this is a game that brings a lot of interest for me. It's not one of the 6.5 games, but it is sitting at a 6 total. I think there are lines on both sides that I'd want to play here. Josh, what do you think?
I have the lineup builder up, and I'm seeing Mark Stahl, second line right wing right now.
I mean, he very well could be. No, he's not playing second line right wing.
Who's it supposed to be?
What they had me going with 11.
Oh, 11-7.
Yeah, 11-4. So he's Mark just,
Stahl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Detroit 1 here. Both top lines in this game, to be honest. I wouldn't game stack both top lines together, obviously, but Detroit 1 fully correlated. Lucas Raymond's still under 5K. You know, that line's not super expensive, fully correlated. They got a 3 over 3 total. So, you know, the Devils line's not super great defensively. Jack Hughes hasn't. I know he scored. He almost scored twice. It was offsides, but their defensive numbers just don't inspire much confidence in me. So I really do like Detroit 1 here. I would imagine a lot of people are going to like Detroit 1 here. We don't have ownership up yet, but I would imagine they're going to be pretty popular tonight. I also, you know, they don't really send out that top line, although Rasmussen's out, so you might see top line versus top line. So they are going to get probably a fair bit of the Hughes Brat soccer line. Larkin line is very high event, so if you are not using Detroit 1, I think you definitely can use Devils 1 here. You want to go to that second line, Mercer, Janssen, Tatar. The wings are going 11-7, so there's going to be some pretty funky combos. I don't mind Devils 2 here as a filler. But for me, I think my favorite line in this game is Detroit 1.
Yeah, it's probably both top lines that are of interest here for me. And as you mentioned, that Detroit third line typically takes the top competition. When Detroit is at home, that's going to mean the top line from New Jersey here. And then they send out the top line versus the third and fourth lines to give them the easiest competition possible. That's going to leave New Jersey 2 going up against Detroit 2. And I don't know what's going on with Detroit 2, but their numbers without Robbie Fabry are AHL numbers. 37% shot share, 37% of the scoring chances, 73 shot attempts allowed per 60 minutes. That's the Detroit second line. They are atrocious. And Dawson Mercer has been one of our favorites here at Awesemo all season long. And I was worried what Mercer's numbers would look like without Jesper Bratt. Now that Jesper Bratt's on the top line, he's still been really good without Jesper Bratt. 62 shot attempts per 60 minutes, 64% of the shot share. That New Jersey second line is my favorite filler line on the entire slate here. I think they're going to tear apart that Detroit second line, which hasn't been like if you're going 11-7, you're going to have to keep rotating wingers in there, and they haven't been able to put together a good combination since they broke up the Zadina Fabry Suter line about 6 weeks ago. They just haven't. So I absolutely love that New Jersey second line here tonight. 2.8 total. So it's not like, we're recommending the Kings second line at that 2.5 total. They're expecting some more goals here. So the New Jersey second line for me on the Devil side, the Detroit top line for me on the Detroit side. As far as the third lines go, I don't think I want to play either of them. New Jersey's third line, not very good, 46% shot share. I noticed with Sharon Govich and Kuokkanen so far this year. So not sure I want to get down to that third line. They're going to get down. They're going to get the Detroit 1 matchup anyway. With Michael Rasmussen out, I don't know if I want to go to the Detroit third line either. So I think the depth lines are out for me here. So New Jersey 2, Detroit 1 on the blue line with no PK Subban and with no Ryan Graves. Damon Severson played, I think it was like 28 minutes in his last game. So yeah, Damon Severson absolutely in play here. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, as long as Ty Smith is with Dougie Hamilton, I think he's in play at 2,600. Not very good defensive defenseman, but he has some offensive upside. On the Detroit side, Moritz Cedar, that's probably about it. Like Hronik is getting up there in price. I'd rather just play Cedar.
Yeah, I agree with you on Cedar. All right, let's keep this moving along then. We have a tool up on the site called Odd Shopper, and I very much recommend anybody go to check it out, oddshopper.com. If you're into sports betting in the United States, it's a very valuable tool to help you find the best line possible for player props, for game lines, for totals, whether NFL or NBA. I think they're adding NHL here shortly. It is just one of the best tools possible to help you maximize your ROI, because if you're not shopping for the best lines, you're definitely leaving money on the table. And Odd Shopper is a free tool at Awesemo that we offer to help people get the best lines possible, because it is very important when it comes to long-term profitability that you do look for the best lines that you can. So please check out oddshopper.com. It's free. Even if you're not a bettor, like I said, it's a good way it can help you follow line movement and things like that for ownership. So you don't even need it to be a bettor to get some utility out of it. All right, let's move this along. We got about 10 minutes left, a couple games to get through. Not a big problem here. Chicago, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Dallas. Dallas Stars have a 3.2 implied goal total. Now, both these teams played last night. The big news, I think, there's some pretty important line changes to note here. Rope Hintz was moved off the Pavelski Robertson line, and Jamie Benn was moved up in his place. Rope Hintz is now playing with Tyler Seguin and Denis Gurianov, or at least that's how they finished the game. On the Chicago side, they moved Dominic Kubalik up to play with Brandon Hagel and Jonathan Toews. So now you have Kubalik and Hagel playing with Toews on the second line. That kind of looks good to me too. So, Dallas was a one-line team before. I think moving Hintz down the lineup changes that equation a little bit. Chicago was a one-line team before. I think moving Kubalik with Toews and Hagel changes that equation as well. So what do you think here, Josh?
Yeah, and unfortunately, both these teams are on a back-to-back, so we won't get any lineup news until pregame skate. Yep, and this is not a 7 p.m. Eastern start, so yay.
Yep.
Like, Dallas looked awful last night, so I think they were just searching. I wouldn't be shocked to see them go back to Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski.
I think at the worst case, they'll probably play the power play together, right?
Yeah.
So even if they're broken up at even strength, they'd play the power play together.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to say because like Hintz, Seguin, Gurianov would definitely interest me. I just don't know. We won't know till 7:30. And, you're just not going to build lineups going, yeah, let's jam in Gurianov, Hintz, Seguin, because, Gurianov could be sent to the gulag in pregame warmups and he'll play his 7 minutes again. So
yeah,
you just don't know. I think what you can do, because there's some expensive, like the later game tonight is pretty expensive, especially from the Oilers side. I think you can build Dallas 1, the original like Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski, and you build a lineup with like Edmonton and Dallas or something like that. And if, you see in warmups, there's a line that you like, you can just completely redo your lineup, put in, if it's Gurianov, Hintz, and Seguin, it's not too expensive. And then you can get in maybe like, McDavid with whoever. That's something you need to mess around with salary. But I'm going to just assume that it's going to be Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski to start. And I'm interested in that line. They burned a lot of people last night. They weren't super high owned, but, they weren't great. We'll see what happens. Like Charlie Lindgren may actually be the Blues' best goalie. So who knows? Maybe they ran into a hot goalie. It was Hint's first game back, so maybe they didn't want to give him a huge workload. I don't know. Like, I'm not the coach. Rick Bowness, whatever. But Dallas 1, assuming they're together, interests me. If it is Gurianov, Hintz, Seguin, definitely going to interest me. If it's Hagel, Toews, Kubalik, definitely going to interest me. The problem is we just won't know. And both these teams are on a back-to-back. And normally if this was like the original 10-game slate it was supposed to be, I'd just be like, yeah, I'll look elsewhere. But it's a 6-game slate. We got to pay attention to this one. So I think, you got to write down or whatever you do, like you got to star them and just come back and hope you have a couple late lineups and you can adjust to what you need or what you want to play. But it's kind of hard not knowing what's going to happen with these lines until 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of hard to say because, I agree with you. I would probably play the Toews, Kubalik, Hagel line here as a filler if I knew it was going to be a line. But if Kubalik's going to be on the third line in warmups, then that's not something I'd absolutely want to do. I think on the Dallas side of things, I agree with you. I just stack Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski. I have Jason Robertson coming up in my Power Plays article as a good value here today. I would probably just play it safe. If you do want it, if you're playing 150 or if you're playing 20 max and you want to take a chance on a late lineup. Yeah, I do think Seguin and Hintz and Gurianov would make a nice 3-man. It's just, if they're not aligned, you're probably going to have to switch to something from Seattle. And then that's not exactly what you're looking for. Yeah. So it's just tough to recommend right now. I'll just say I like old Dallas 1 in this game. On the blue line, Our old buddy Yanni Hakanpää played the second most of any Dallas defenseman last night behind John Klingberg. He played over 23 minutes. I guess Hakanpää definitely in play for us here today. Josh loves the Hakanpää. Connor Murphy down to 3,500 for Chicago makes sense as well. Who you got?
Listen, it doesn't matter what wingers you put in your lineup. Zub, Hakanpää, bro.
Automatic dub.
Yeah.
Automatic dub.
No, like, let's not get silly. But yeah, Yanni Hakanpää for sure in play for me. The coach said he reminds me of Jamie Alexiak. You had me at Alexiak. So yeah, Yanni Hakanpää. Klingberg, if you're playing Dallas one, he's still 4,400. Like, that price is fine. S. Lindell, also fine. The Jones brothers are fine. Murphy's fine. That's about it.
All right. We only have a few minutes left. If everybody could throw us a thumbs up and click that subscribe button, keeps us looking good for our bosses. Click that bell to get alerts when we do go live. Thank you again to Yahoo Fantasy for being our sponsor. If you're a first-time Yahoo user, you want to get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, check out the link below. We have shows coming up all day long here today. Coming up next, we have NBA Strategy with EMAC and Gundacker. Then we have NFL Showdown Strategy with McCarthy, Terry, and Gashevsky right after them. Then we have NFL Prize Picks with EMAC coming back on the air with Aton at 1 Eastern. And then our MMA Live Before Lock at 1:30 Eastern. Then, of course, your NBA Double Dose will start tonight at 5 Eastern. And they're followed by the NFL Saturday Night Showdown at 7:35 Eastern. So NBA and NFL all day long today with some college and some MMA sprinkled in. All right, let's get to this final game. Edmonton 3.2 implied goal total. They're going into Seattle. The Seattle Kraken, I almost called them the Seahawks, have a 3.2 implied goal total. Josh, I went and looked at Seattle's a shift chart for their last three games to see home games to see how they're matching. Oh. They've used 3 different lines as a shutdown line in 3 straight different games. I don't know who's getting McDavid tonight. What do you like here?
I'm not sure it matters really. Like, we talk about how in the beginning of the season, like, on paper, this is supposed to be a good defensive team. Like, their numbers just like have not been good.
They've fallen off over the last month.
Yeah, I mean, like, Grubauer has been a bit better, but like in the beginning of the season, their defensive numbers were good, and Grubauer couldn't, stop a beach ball from coming at him. Now the defensive numbers are falling off. Grubauer is stabilizing a little bit, so like, whatever. Like, I would imagine McDavid, Puljujarvi going to be some of the most popular plays on the slate tonight. Puljujarvi is still only 4,400. His like McDavid wowie numbers with or without are like stark with Puljujarvi. Like, he's just better with Puljujarvi. Not that like McDavid needs Puljujarvi, but like, they're just a better line when Puljujarvi's there. If you want to leave Fogle off, that's fine. Like, you can just power play stack, go McDavid, Puljujarvi, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Draisaitl, Puljujarvi. Like, it's just a broken record when we're talking about Edmonton. It's the same thing every time. You want to stack the top line, go for it. Otherwise, power play stack. Like, okay, so Duncan Keith was added to protocols. Marcus Niemelainen is on IR, so like, they're just even more shorthanded defensively. And I want to get behind like a little bit of Seattle here. Like, their total isn't too bad at home, but like, these lines are just brutal. And if McCann Eberle is going to get the McDavid matchup, like, I just like with McDavid, Puljujarvi, Fogle there, like, that's probably the best iteration defensively for McDavid line this season. So like, I don't want to use McCann Eberle if they're going to get McDavid. If they aren't, then yeah, maybe I'll have some McCann Eberle. But like, other than that, like, there's just nothing on Seattle despite the total that I want to play.
Yeah, I agree. And we should also mention no RNH for tonight either. He's in protocol.
Oh yeah, he's in protocol too.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty thinned out Edmonton depth. I agree with you. I'd love to play like a geeky Yarncroc or something like that, but there's just nothing that has been good. So Edmonton power play for me in this game. We got to get out of here. Like I said, I just like the Edmonton power play in that last game. I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick for tonight is Travis Konechny. And my goalies are Alex Nedeljkovic and Thatcher Demko. Who you got?
I actually don't mind Jake Ottinger tonight. It's super expensive, but he's a decent pay up option. Jack Campbell under 8K interests me. Thatcher Demko as well. And my hat trick pick is going to be Lucas Raymond.
I like it. Lucas Raymond on Detroit 1. Travis Konechny here. My hat trick pick. We're going to get out of here. We do have NBA coming up right after us. We're going to be back on Tuesday, I believe, maybe Monday. Yeah. So for producer Tyler, for Josh Harris, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody.